Hey Sam, do you think the bus goes out to Italy?
He might. Oh, well, Andrew, what a great ending to go into the Olympic break. We're 8-0-2 points in the last 10 games for the Skanes team. You It's interesting, Andrew, because you think of this 10-game point streak, it's like quite a few of these games were not. I mean, basically what my point is, quite a few of these games were sloppy wins, you know?
Yeah, that's been kind of this season in general, which is equal parts concerning and encouraging. That I
Yeah.
don't think we've really seen them consistently play to the level that we know that they're capable of, that they know that they're capable of, and yet look at them still, undoubtedly one of the top five teams in the league,
Mhm.
and the roster as is could definitely click better. And imagine if they can add to it.
Yeah, definitely. Although I thought they played a lot better. I thought the Rangers game, which we'll get to, Andrew, I thought that more resembled of what we might see from the Canes.
Oh yeah, out shooting their opponents at almost a 3-1 clip. And I honestly just love the effort that we saw in this game, because it would be completely understandable for these guys to know that most of them are going on vacation starting tomorrow, and the rest are about to pursue a lifelong dream of representing their countries. When you look at the standings, I would, obviously they're paid a lot of money to fight these feelings, but if their mind was on anything but the game tonight, it would be kind of understandable. So tip of the cap to our guys for going into the break on a high note.
Yes, really a tip to the Caps. So a couple things like always. Remember, we have a great partnership with SeatGeek. You get $20 off your first purchase if you use promo code Caniac Report, all one word. It's a great deal if you're trying to save money on some tickets. And remember, if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you never miss another episode. And if you're listening to us wherever you get your podcast, please leave a rating and a review. It really, really does help us out. And also, Andrew and I have talked about this. We have decided on February the 23rd, there will be no episode. So basically, when it comes to the Olympic break, and I'll go ahead and give you guys a sneak peek since you guys are the heartbeat of the podcast, obviously. You're actually listening to us. Monday, we'll be going. It'll be a fun type of episode that Andrew and I will be doing, which we'll be discussing about all trade rumors, because that's an episode that we have been wanting to do. I'll give credit where credit's due. Andrew did have the idea of having an episode like that, so we're definitely going to be doing that because the trade deadline's coming up. And then Friday and Monday will be part one and part two of our midterm grades. And then the episode after that Monday of part two on that Friday, it's going to be a special episode with a particular person that we have on. He's new. This is his first episode, but that's going to be a very enjoyable interview for you guys to listen to. So, Andrew, you excited about all these episodes that they'll get to see?
Yeah, no, we've been you and I have been really plugging away this week, trying to make sure that our listeners have some content over the Olympic break, so that you and I can also take a much needed break. Doing this is obviously a labor of love, and we
Yeah.
really appreciate all of you guys who listen to us on a regular basis. That being said, just like anything else, a little bit of distance makes the heart grow fonder. So looking forward to the break.
Yes, definitely. And so remember, though, on the 23rd, there will be no episode, but that Friday, that's when the NHL comes back. We'll be recapping a very big game between us and the Tampa Bay Lightning, which is that Thursday. So just stay tuned for that. And Andrew, let's go ahead and get to a couple of trades here. We know the roster freeze ended yesterday at 3 p.m. and all the speculation of where Panarin would go He finally got traded. And to be honest, I thought that was the only player that was going to get traded. Turns out there were two players. I mean, Bogusad got traded to New Jersey.
Yeah, but Jugsaw is actually a guy I kind of had circled that the Canes might be interested in. Really big guy, centerman. The Devils are making a lot of kind of soft buying moves for a team that is. You don't want to say they're out of it because the East is still tight enough that they could get hot and get right back into it. But I'm wondering where their head's at in terms of what they can actually achieve this season.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is tough because, like, I mean, if you put yourself in the general manager's shoes for the Devils, it's not like you can sell. You know, you have Jack
No,
Hughes, you have Nico Hisha, you just can't sell.
no. I mean, that team has really been kind of cursed with injuries for a while.
Yes.
Jack Hughes, and unfortunately for him, just can't seem to stay healthy, whether it's an injury or a mysterious injury at
Hmm.
a dinner party that he just can't catch a break. Obviously as Canes fans, we don't want to see them do too good, but
Hmm.
from the GM's perspective, I imagine that fan base is still kind of circling the wagons with him about not being able to pick up Quinn Hughes. I know that's been kind of the dream in New Jersey to get all
Oh,
three of
yeah.
those guys together. And I mean, how could you not? They're all incredible players, but yeah, New Jersey, I think that's a big retool, not rebuild team. But I'm just surprised that they're doing so much mid-season.
Yeah, I am too. I think part of it's timing. I think if you would have thought New Jersey would be adding a piece like because that it probably would have made more sense if it was in the off season, not during the season. But let's go ahead and get to the big trade of that day, Andrew. A lot of speculation of where Panarin was going. I actually had a feeling that he might have be going to Tampa just because it seems like all the teams that have that tax advantage, all the players want to go there. But he went to LA, and obviously, uh, I'm going to ask the full trade here. So the Kings got Panarin, obviously. The Rangers, though, they had to retain 50% of Panarin's contract, and they got Liam Greentree, a prospect, a 2026 third round pick that I think has a condition on it, possibly becoming a second. I can't remember. And then you have the 2028 fourth round pick that I think does upgrade to maybe a third if they go to like the conference finals. And Andrew, Rangers did not get a lot out of that trade, but Panarin had a no movement clause. I mean, you knew the Rangers were hand strapped with this type of trade.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think things got real for the Rangers front office very quick this season, and it is kind of crazy when you think about how, for the most part, this is still the team that beat the Canes in the playoffs 2 years ago. Obviously a few pieces have moved out, Capo Capco and Filipino come to
Trubo.
mind, but well, and Keandre Miller too, actually, who's now
Yeah,
on on
Miller.
on the good guy side, but just absolutely fell apart. They were definitely kind of caught between a rock and the hard place with Panarin, and we've seen in the past that they've kind of muscled their way out of those contractual protections from players, and I think that has developed a bit of a reputation for the Rangers and how they'll handle players, especially guys like Truba, who I know as Canes fans, we have our feelings about him, but just an absolute loyal, hardworking soldier for that team, and they still did everything they could to basically get rid of the rights that he had negotiated in his contract. So not a big return for that player, but from everything I've heard about the kid that they picked up, he's an absolute nail gun. So I think they might have sacrificed skill, but got back some toughness, which from the Hurricanes' perspective, that's something that they need to fix even more now.
Yeah, they definitely do. And Panarin, Andrew, it's kind of obvious. Like he has a very few selections of where he wanted to go. It seems like LA was the team that he really wanted to go, and we have a no movement clause. You can kind of pick where you wanted to go, and he was able to go to the team he wanted to with LA. And I can tell you this from a Canes fan, Andrew, I'm so glad he went out west and he did not go to any of the Florida teams. That would have been to me worst case scenario.
Oh yeah, can you imagine Kucherov setting up Panarin on the power play? Like the
Yeah.
good luck getting
Oh
past
man.
that. You know, I know we've talked about him in the past, and he wasn't someone I had high on my who we should acquire board. But there's no doubt that adding a guy like Panarin would have helped the Canes. But for a second best option, him getting moved out west and a division rival not getting much that helps them at least in the immediate future. That's the best case scenario, short of him coming to Raleigh for future considerations or something.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously we are starting to talk about the hurricane side of this. Like, I've had my feelings on Panarin. I was like, you know what? If we got Panarin, I'm not gonna gripe about it, but I'm not gonna be overly thrilled about it either. I'd probably take maybe a neutral stance just because, well, I do think he improves the team. He's not a player that you need, and
No,
yeah, it's just I'm happy we didn't get Panarin. That's just my opinion.
I think so. Here's the interesting thing about it is under normal circumstances, without the no movement clause, without the Rangers very publicly throwing in the towel on the season, he definitely fetches more than that in a trade. And I think if it because from everything we've seen since the dust has kind of settled, it sounds like all the rumors surrounding him coming to Carolina or even the Florida teams that was all just leverage. So
Yeah. Mhm.
I think he was always going to go to LA. Wanted to leave the hustle and bustle of New York City for that small town Los Angeles living. So he's going for a change of pace. But as far as the Canes are concerned, it would have been great to have him, but I would rather get a B tier 2C center to actually fill that role than to add another winger because granted, a lot of these guys are young and need to kind of get back to the standard of play that we know that they're capable of. We're all set at wing. We really are.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. What's interesting though, like I saw earlier, I think it might have been earlier today. It might have been from Nick Kiprios, but I mean, I followed the NHL rumor report on X,
Mhm.
and I think basically what NHL rumor report does is like basically report on all the credible people in hockey of their quotes on teams, and apparently Canes are still interested on Peterson from Vancouver. I wouldn't mind it. It's just I don't like the contract.
You don't like the contract now, but if the change of scenery does something to him and he can get back to even like 80% of the player that he is capable of being, that contract suddenly looks a lot better and it does add some much needed high end skill. Which I mean, not that Panarin wouldn't have done that, but I do think Pedersen just fits what the Canes want to do. The question is, what's the return going to be? Because they're not handy. Because they're
KK
not.
has to be a part of the return.
Oh yeah, KK probably a first round pick.
Bradley Nadeau, possibly.
Yeah, Nadeau, Nystrom could be mentioned. I wonder if they're considering moving either Blake or Stankoven, just given the young guys in the top six with the contract. That'll fetch a super big return. I'm
Mhm.
against it only because I think the future is so bright with those guys. But yeah, it's they're in an interesting spot right now because there's not a lot of expiring deals. Prospect pool seems fairly deep, but you're probably going to have to give up a roster piece to get a big name like that. And who's it going to be?
Yeah, I know. You just really wonder who that big roster piece is. But I mean, you mentioned the prospect pool, and Andrew, we did get an update a little bit on our prospect pool because Charles Alexis Legault, he got activated from IR, which is wonderful news. Great to even more depth for the Hurricanes on D because he's played in the NHL and he's played pretty good alongside Nystrom.
Yeah, I thought when the two of them were both on the team, Nystrom seemed like the more well-rounded player, whereas
Yes.
Legault to me had more individual moments that really popped off the page for me, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to see that he's good enough to return the action. That was a nasty injury that he did,
It was.
or that he suffered. So just on a human level, happy about that. But yeah, the Wolves, they got some pieces to work with down there.
They definitely do. And then the biggest news happened today. Andrew, we thought he might make Team Canada. We had to go through some time of us Canes fans to maybe think about Seth Jarvis going to Team Canada, but he said himself he heard the phone call while he was taking a nap or something. Didn't answer it the first time. The second time it rang, he answered it, and that was when he said was basically notified that he was going to be on Team Canada. Andrew, I am so proud of that guy, and even though I'm pulling for Team USA, so happy he is able to make Team Canada. Really am.
Oh yeah, and he's earned it, and not that the guys who made the team before him didn't, but I mean, I think just the way he plays, he's going to be so valuable to that team, and especially considering how young he is, he's going to be a part of that program for years to come. Obviously, those are our biggest rivals, us being Americans and Canadians, but until the puck drops, those are our brothers to the north, so we can still be happy for them when good things happen. But the second that puck drops for Seth for 60 minutes, I don't know yet. I'll talk to you after the game.
Yep.
Energy.
we're pulling for Team Slavin. Just think about that.
Yes, exactly. Team Slavin. And if I had to pick a second team that I'm pulling for, it's probably the Finns, just because of how important that country's been to the Canes. So go USA, and hopefully Finland brings home the bronze or something.
Yep, but again, Team Canada, they're very good, formidable foe. But we'll see how the Olympics go, because I mean, Andrew, it's so nice to having lots of these players playing in the Olympics. Yes, is there a risk for injury? Absolutely, but it's just so nice. You have Anderson playing for Denmark, Aho playing for Team Finland, and Jarvis playing for Team Canada, and then Slavin playing for Team USA. That's 4 Canes players. And I bet you if Team Russia suddenly was able to have their own Olympic team, I think Svechnikov would have been on that team.
Yeah, Svech probably makes it. I think there's a decent chance Nikishin gets considered. And let's not forget about Nick Ehlers also representing Denmark. So
Ehlers, yeah.
So
I knew I missed someone.
Yeah, it's all good. It feels like those rosters were announced months ago, and then it's just been a revolving door of who's actually going to be on it. But yeah, for our guys and all the athletes, best of luck. It's I can only imagine. Because for a long time the NHL wasn't going to the Olympics. That might have been a childhood dream that a lot of these guys maybe more or less gave up on, and now they're getting to go and live it. So I hope everyone has a good time. I hope the hockey's good, and USA all the way.
Yes, definitely USA all the way. And also, if any of you listeners are documentary fans, I am too. But I'd recommend you, if you haven't seen it yet, the Miracle on Ice documentary that came out on Netflix. Very, very good. I don't know if you've watched it, Andrew.
Yes, excellent.
You did watch it.
I watched it a couple of days ago. It was really good job. I'll probably be watching that and Miracle on a repeat between games for the Americans.
I love that movie. With Herb Brooks. Good. Oh man, that is my favorite sports movie of all time. Probably not a surprise for those of you who are listening, but I just Miracle, love that movie. Yep. So let's go ahead and get to a sponsor, and then we will recap both the Ottawa and the New York Rangers games. Super Bowl 60 deserves a sports book built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. Anything can happen during the Super Bowl, and DraftKings has your back with early exits. If your player goes down in the first half, you still get paid in cash when your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. While other sports books don't offer injury protection, DraftKings covers the entire first half, even the second quarter. And early exit works on live bets too. Pre-game or in-game, DraftKings has you covered. New to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Blue Hill Casino in Kansas. Wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. All right, Andrew, I have to ask before we get to the games. With you living up in Boston and our DraftKings ad mentioning it, who are you pulling for the Super Bowl?
It's a tough one because I like seeing my friends happy, and these Patriots fans have suffered for a long 7 years. So, put it this way, my heart's pulling for the Seahawks. My DraftKings account is pulling for the surprisingly heavy underdog Patriots.
I'm pulling for the Seahawks, but I just want to ask that question because the Super Bowl is coming up this Sunday, so. We'll see.
Yeah, then Panthers fans, obviously, we have the connection to Sam Darnold. Thank goodness Bryce Young has panned out, because watching both him and Baker Mayfield leave the Panthers and both go on to just absolutely pop off in their teams was really rubbing salt in the wounds here for us. So best of luck to Sam Darnold. And I'll be happy to lose some money to laugh at the people at the party Sunday.
By the way, I am very happy you're a Panthers fan because I don't watch the NFL at all. So it's nice to know that we have listeners who have someone that they can connect to when it comes to this podcast and us talking about the Carolina Panthers every once in a while.
Yep, nope. I love all of our hometown teams. I'll be tuning in tomorrow for Duke UNC.
Oh yeah, big game.
Let me go ahead and make people mad at me. Go Devils! My stepfather is a employee at Duke University, so Duke put food on the table. So we're a dark blue household here.
My sister went to UNC. So
Fair enough.
I'm pulling for UNC.
Always a good game, man. Always a good game.
Yep, it definitely is. So let's get to the Ottawa game first here, Andrew. And this was a game, we kind of mentioned sloppy wins before in this episode. While I thought the Canes were good, I thought it was obvious that Ottawa was better in this game.
Yeah, we've been seeing this a lot lately, where I think the desperation of the opponent has been more obvious. Ottawa is a team that's, kind of fighting for their lives right now. Really feel for that fan base because, it was such an exciting season for them last year. I think there's a lot of things to like about that team from an entertaining perspective, but it's all fallen apart, and it's fallen apart from the net out. And I think we saw that desperation of not wanting to waste this season, but Carolina, I think their top end talent just carried them over.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously you had a Holiday from Ottawa scoring the first goal, which is frustrating because it's already 1-0 Ottawa. What do you thought of that goal?
Not the best goal that Buzzy's ever given up, but I thought the defense in front of him was kind of sloppy, and this was another one of those games where I think it was Bussy stealing it, and like a handful of really high end plays by the offense carried them over. But this was definitely a Brandon Bussy game.
Yes, it was. And what's funny with Bussy, Andrew, is he kind of put himself into some situations to make very big saves. Because one criticism I have of Bussy is his stick handling ability of the puck.
Yeah, I think that consensus is shared by anyone who's paid close attention to this team, and
Yep.
it's not even that he's like struggling with it. He's kind of flat out bad at it, which is surprising because of how good he is at everything else. But
He was a little bit better with it against the Rangers, I thought.
he was taking less risks. During the Ottawa game, there were times where it felt like he was trying to channel his inner Pyotr Kochetkov,
Yep.
which I mean, we've seen that style work for PK, but it's because he commits. I feel like Busty's issue is he wants to be aggressive, he wants to be part of the play, but he second guesses himself enough.
He's hesitant.
Yeah, so that little split second in a game like hockey makes all the difference. And when the other team's got the book on the guy by now that's something he's going to struggle with, you bet that they're forechecking him super hard, just trying to make a mistake behind the net. But obviously, he's got the talent to bail himself out. But if he can clean that up, it's only going to improve his game, which is crazy to think that that's possible.
Yeah, it really is. But fortunately for the Canes, Andrew, you do have Aho tying it up. Funny enough, I actually thought with that goal it went off of Jarvis's skating in. Turns out it went off of Sanderson's skating in. But you know what? It's a greasy type of goal. It's not a pretty goal. You were just able to get it past Reimer. And I will admit, even though I want us to win, I do not want it to be at the expense of Reimer getting hurt because I have a soft spot. He has a soft spot in my heart.
He was a very good goalie for us for a long time. That goal to me was very encouraging because those are the kind of goals you score in the playoffs. You're not going to have as much room to do all this pretty stuff, which that's I think our biggest critique of that top line is especially if Svetch doesn't stay there long term, it is very small. But Jarvis, even though he didn't get credited with the goal, it was the effort and chaos he was creating in front of the net that did basically score it. So good on Aho for putting the puck on. That's still, I think, a big thing. We need to see him do more is play a little bit more selfishly because he's a great facilitator, but I think even he kind of undervalues his goal scoring ability because he's an excellent player in that regard too.
Yep, definitely. And then in the second period, we got to see the Seth Jarvis show, Andrew, because Jarvis, and I thought to me this was the most beautiful play of the game, but it's on the power play. You have Svechnikov kind of passing it at a diagonal level compared to where Jarvis is at. And it's a beautiful pass to Jarvis, and Jarvis just snipes it past Reimer. And what a gorgeous goal that was. And just add more salt to the wound for Ottawa. Seth Jarvis scores again with an assist from Aho. And I'm telling you, Andrew, we've said it plenty of times before, but that Aho line really does get going. And Jarvis, man, I hope, I don't know if he gets there because of the amount of games he's missed, but I hope he gets to 40 goals.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's going to stop him is exactly that. And just knowing, the abuse he puts on his body, if there's any guy I'd be okay with the Canes shutting down for a little bit towards the end of the season, it is Jarvis. Mm-hmm. But that being said, that top line is absolutely clicking. Even in the games where they're not scoring, they're not doing what they were doing a bit a while back where there's games where they kind of disappear. They're impactful every single game, and that is what you need. It's okay if your top line doesn't always score. That's why it's a team effort, and you need those bottom six guys just to start chipping in a little bit more consistently. But they've been absolutely carrying, and that's what you need from these guys, and that's what you need from your future captain Aho. I think he's been showing this season that even though the numbers haven't fully been there, his leadership abilities it's noticeable how even though this is still Jordan Stahl's team, that he feels like he's kind of the maybe not the emotional leader, but the emotional catalyst, where when Aho gets fired up and going, you can see that everyone else kind of locks in a
Yep.
bit.
They definitely do. I completely agree with that assessment. Um, but unfortunately, you do have Ottawa tying it up. Both came on the penalty kill, so penalty kill wasn't great. But to be honest, I look at like the Cecil goal. Should Bussy have saved it? Maybe. Yes, he probably should have. The Sanderson goal. I mean, he was perfectly screened. I don't blame that on Bussy at all. I thought like again, even with the Stutzel goal, those two goals I thought showed more of just how dynamic Ottawa's offense is than us being bad.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Ottawa, I think, is better than their record shows. I think it's
Yep.
just been one of those years for them. That's a young, high-end team that I think is maybe an off season or two away from making the right moves to being a bona fide contender, and might even be the new beast of the Atlantic pretty here soon. So that definitely not Bussy's best performance, but I mean his best performance is him playing absolutely out of his mind while the rest of the team in front of him kind of let these crazy shots happen. Thinking back to that Buffalo game where the whole
Yep.
game felt like a highlight reel. But at the end of the day, there's games where you just need your goalie to make that one big save at the end, and that's what Bussy has shown that he's capable of doing. Even if it's a game where he's just doing enough to keep them in it, if you're making those big saves down the stretch, that's really what matters.
Yeah, Ottawa really could have won that game with the amount of juicy chances that they got. And Carolina, like, I mean, they weren't even getting a lot of offensive pressure, especially in that third period. But Bussy really kept them in it. Again, a lot like the Buffalo game. And you have Jordan Stahl scoring on the empty net. I'm telling you, he's our second line center the way he's going.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and obviously this happened in the more in the game we're going to talk about next. But I do love that Trip Tracy is kind of cranking the siren, if you will, about him being this year's Selke winner. I think if that award was properly awarded to the best defensive forward, just flat out, he probably wins it a few times. But they do factor in offense, and Rod's actually been on record about saying, in his opinion, which you win it twice, your opinion's very valid, that offense does go into it. And yeah, he's just having kind of a renaissance season in that regard. And yeah, I think in particular we've seen him really thrive getting those net front passes and just very quickly getting it on net. So that's very encouraging because he's the kind of player who does have a knack for big goals in the playoffs. So if he's even more consistent with it, that you love to see it. That being said, us talking about him like a second line center because of his performance, that needs to be addressed by the team because he should not be, and that's not a slight on him.
Yes, I completely agree. I was kind of being funny with him being second line center, but not at the same time because like he has kind of been playing like that with getting all of these goals. So really nice to see. I think he's on pace for like 24 goals, the most he's had since what 2014 or something. That's crazy from a guy like Jordan Stahl, who is mostly known for his defense. And with Barkov being out for the rest of the season, I honestly would be at this point again with how Stahl's been producing with goals. I'd be probably a little bit disappointed if Stahl wasn't the finalist for the Selke Trophy.
He needs to be at least a finalist. If he's not, then I think all the kind of feelings we have towards the league not respecting the Canes, whether it's Rod not being in the Hall of Fame, the way some people talked about that '06 team, like it wasn't an absolutely loaded team full of veterans who were getting their first cup. It's hard sometimes not to shake that feeling of disrespect to our team, and therefore us as Canes fans and North Carolinians, even if those of us who have relocated still pulled NC very close to my heart. But yeah, finalist or bust. And off the top of my head, I can only think of a handful of guys who I think are even in his league right now in terms of the two-way play.
Yep, definitely. So The next game, Andrew, let's go on to that, and that is against the New York Rangers. And I can tell you this, Andrew. You can tell they are so bad out there on the ice. Now, credit to the Canes. I thought that was a pretty impressive performance. I think that was one of their best games in a while, to be honest. But you can tell the Rangers are just so deflated, especially with Panarin gone.
Oh yeah, and they already knew this season was over for them. But once you get a guy like that out, that's when it really kind of, kind of settles in for the team that this is over. We're going through the motions. If it's a contract year for you, maybe you have something to play for, trying to get your next deal better. But aside from that, once you enter that mind state of like, I just want to get this over with, I want to go out there, maybe have a couple of good shifts and not get hurt, it's over for you. Like the whole team, it's done. That being said, I think this is a game Carolina probably should have won by more than 2-0. Their finishing was not at the caliber that we know that they're capable of. But, kind of like we talked about before, I think it's impressive that they even came into it with this effort, knowing that, most of these guys are on vacation right now and the rest of them are getting ready to live out that childhood dream. So kudos to them and the coaching staff for getting these guys ready to really go into the break on a high note.
Yeah. And I mean, we mentioned how great the Hurricanes were, and I do think the Hurricanes were really, really great. I mean, they poured on 40-something shots. But I will say at the same time, while I thought Quick was excellent, I thought just looking at the quality of the shots that he had to stop, he didn't have to make a lot of super crazy saves. A lot of them were out far wide, I thought. But I mean, you know what? I mean, I understand why you want to just keep shooting at the goalie when the team in front of the goalie is obviously deflated. So, and it's the last game before the Olympic break. Like, I'm not going to criticize this team too much after this game. Just not.
Nope, they showed up, they put in a valiant effort, and they got the W. So you know what? Y'all enjoy your time off, and best of luck in Italy to those that are going. You really can't ask more when you factor everything in, especially when you look at the standings. And it's like if they lost this game, the odds of it coming back to bite them, really, it's not impossible, but it's looking less and less likely.
Yep. It really is. And the only 2 goals were scored by Sveshnikov, who continues to be very, very good at the goal scoring category and just playing well in general. And then Captain Jordan Stahl with the empty net. And Bussy gets his shutout. It's funny, Andrew, because the 2 times we played at MS3, we shut them out both games.
Yep, there's not a team that I'm more happy to kick while they're down. Like, I wish we were playing them more because I've been loving this, both as just a Canes fan, but also someone with a lot of Rangers fans that I'm related to. It's been a fun season trying to get a few jabs back after a couple of playoff exits.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I would say what was really positive. I actually thought the Stankoven line looked pretty good this game.
Yeah, they've looked. I think they've looked good in general. It's just it seems like they
looked a little bit more polished.
A little more polished. There's a lot of they're doing everything right, but the last step, like especially Blake and Stankoven, I feel like it'll be like, say it's a play that takes 3 passes to get done. The first 2 look beautiful, and for whatever reason, the third one, it's like playing Xbox and your controller dies level of just what happened there. I don't question the effort of any of those guys. I do kind of want to see that line get shaken up just because when you see guys kind of hitting their head against the wall like that, I think sometimes just having a fresh set of eyes on the line, something like that can do a lot of good, even if it is just a temporary shakeup.
Yes. Ehlers, please, on that line. Even though Ehlers plays great with Stahl. And they keep defying my criticisms. I'm not going to criticize anymore about Ehlers playing with Stahl, but I do think in the long run, especially in the playoffs, you need Ehlers playing in the top 6. You just need to.
For sure, and it also depends on what they do at the deadline. Because
Yep.
hopefully there is someone else centering that second line, and then from there they'll have probably a little bit less than 20 games to just kind of see who clicks with them. And if Ehlers winds up that this season in particular, he stays on that third line and just kind of adds some high end offensive ability and frankly some really underrated defensive prowess. It's not the worst thing. But again, I'm really curious to see what this front office does because that's going to dictate how I feel about him staying or being moved from that line.
Yep, definitely. And Miller, I thought played pretty good. Being at MSG for the first time, I believe, in his before he got traded here.
In my opinion, he is just kind of going through things on X and Blue Sky and all the fan groups on Facebook. The most overly criticized player on this team. He's been excellent lately. Obviously when you're a defenseman, when you make a mental lapse, it's going to be more noticeable because it happens, and then a half second later it's in your own net. But incredible skater, uses his long wingspan to break up plays. I'm really excited that he's on this team. I think he's only going to get better as he goes. I really don't get why so many people seem like they're not only frustrated with him, but like kind of over him being on the team and like want him out. I don't get that.
Yeah, they could be Canes fans in disguise as Rangers fans.
So a resident of Cary is what you're saying.
Yeah, a resident of Cary. Except me, because I live in Cary. All righty, Andrew. Well, this is our last episode before the Olympic break, so it's going to be a fun, nice, refreshing break, and they're going to see our episodes that we pre-recorded.
Yeah, I'm really excited for our listeners to check those out. Obviously, we're doing grades of all of the players. We're going to dive into pretty much every trade rumor that we've heard of. You and I have made the joke about how guys like Elliot Friedman can't do that because they have to worry about their journalistic integrity. You and I don't have that burden.
We don't have it, yeah.
So yeah, I'm probably gonna once I hop up here, because we're gonna be recording that episode tomorrow. I'm just gonna probably spend the next couple hours just doom scrolling and looking for every random trade idea that I see, and if there's any that even sounds remotely possible, we'll give it a couple of seconds of our time and even talk about the trade chips that Carolina has. So don't go missing this too much. I'll be hopping on X during the Olympics and keeping that Discord going. So yeah, but looking forward to the break, and then we get to look forward to the playoffs. So exciting times.
Definitely is. So we will see you guys next time.